Hey everyone, I hope you had a good holiday and back at it with another video. And this one's about getting your colour match torch in between your base and your clear. I nearly caught myself out on this one. So here's a little tip when using your torch just to check you've got full coverage before you commit to lacquering. Hope you enjoy it. Here we go then. So this is just a little can of bust through primer. It's supposed to be for metal, but I've got a little bit of bust throughs that I'm not happy with on this bumper corner. But like I said in the intro, this video is about using the colour match torch before you apply your lacquer. I almost caught myself out on this one, so you know it makes sense to just check your work. I go on about it a lot, and I seem to be struggling with this what do you call it, voiceover part of the video, because I do the same thing every time. And because I do what works, the quality of work that I'm producing is consistent. So I seem to be banging on about the same things every time. Check this, check that. But if you do it, it produces the results. So I might sound like I'm saying the same things every time, and I probably am. But consistency for me is the key. If I can go in there and produce the best quality work time and time again, I'm not going to change it. So apologies for keep saying the same stuff, but as you can see, this bust through primer is really nice. It is designed for metal. It's got some anti-corrosion properties, but also when you spray it on, it doesn't need any flattening at all whatsoever, so it goes on really nice and smooth. So we're applying the base coat here. It's Kia H8G, which is a dark grey. It does have good coverage, and You'll notice that I've got quite a light grey shade primer on there, and the bust through was quite light as well. But you have to check. Some colours will be affected by what grey shade's underneath. This was just a case of priming up a few jobs at the same time. We're using roll primer as well. I don't know if guys use a roller primer. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it does work if you follow how it's supposed to be applied, although I can't stand it really. It's just more of a production thing where we are. But it does work. So what I like to do is, if I can prime up a few at the same time and use an aerosol, colour-coded aerosol that we have to go over the top with a dark grey. We just ran out. We hadn't been using the ordering system. We've got almost like a barcode scanner to scan jobs in and out, but somebody hadn't been scanning them, so I was left with a light grey. But fortunately this colour does cover really well, so it's not a bad thing. But this is why I was almost caught out as well, I'd imagine, because the grey shade underneath was so bright. When I put my base on, come back in with a torch after it was dry, and you could see some of the undercoat. So that's what I was saying about catching yourself out. There's no point not checking. I've got a colour torch there. We're not under any time pressures here, so a couple of minutes just checking, and I saved myself a possible rework. And you can see here, because you're coming in with the first coat on the wing, get it covered. You can see the coverage is really good. Double checking my hair's not creeping up. And then the second coat, I'm slightly further away, a bit slower. And with these darker colours, you don't need any of the blender, which I have been using in the other videos. It's lighter colours, you get to know what you can and can't get away with, but most of these darker colours you won't need a blender. So as you can see, I'm happy, but I've turned the lights off, got my colour torch in, my ring, it's a high cri95 plus colour match torch. And you can just see there's a couple of nibs there, but I came prepared this time. Came in with I've got a Indasa 1000 scuff pad just to take those dirt nibs out, and then you'll see me point out here underneath this moulding edge. Not that you can see me pointing it, I've actually got the camera mounted to my chin, so you can't see sometimes. I will be moving that just to get a better look, but I spotted a bust through under there. Not happy with it, so stick my torch on the wall with a handy magnet. Get my airline on, and there's a couple of nibs in this bumper. Nothing crazy, but the key with the Standox paint is to make sure that it's properly dry and cured before you go in. So this has had like 15 minutes, I'd say 15 minutes at 35 degrees, and then I'm able to take those nibs out. I don't like flat and base coat if I can avoid it, but there was one or two here that were a little bit bigger than I would like. I don't know if any of you guys use these Indasa pads, they're really good. And you see what I mean about the camera being on the chin there. I'm a little too close. So I am going to try and move it onto the forehead. It's just on this new Sata 5000 air-fed mask. It's a little bit trickier to mount than the old one. But you'll see I'm coming in really, really close. Applying this first coat. Nice and light on the trigger. Get a light one on there. And then I'm going to come back in and paint it as before. If you're using lighter colours, you can get away with putting a transparent base on there and letting it dry. That'll actually fill in the scratches if you're worried about it on like a silver or something. Seeing your scratches. The transparent base will fill up the scratches, and when that's flashed off, then come back in with your colour and then reapply the silver or whatever colour you're using. And that'll actually fill up the scratches, which is quite nice. And then you'll see here on the wing, just underneath, you can't really see it on the video, especially if I'm not pointing the camera in the right direction. Just under that lip, you could see it was still a little light from the lighter grey primer. So I suppose the video should be about using the correct grey shades, but using the colour match torch as well, just to double check your work, isn't a bad thing if you've got one there. If you haven't, I'll leave a link in the description for this colour match torch. They're just handy to have in your box. They're not as pricey as the Sata truesun or the 3M sun gun, but when you go to a place that doesn't have one, it's handy to just have your own. Coming in now with the lacquer. Loving this lacquer, the cri95 with the, I think it's 1030 hardener. No, or 1020 hardener even. It's still getting used to these numbers with Standox. I was on the Glazeret for quite a long time, so you have to bear with me. But it is the 1050, and I'm going 10% reducer. I'm finding that's working a lot better for me than the recommended 5%. It just seems to go on that a little flatter. If you're laying it down and it's already smooth, you're not fighting with any orange peel. So this is just going on lovely. Nice gun finish, which is what I'm all about really, getting the finish as nice as possible, as clean as possible. Take out one or two nibs, polish it, send it. I don't want to be there for a long time polishing up orange peel unnecessarily. I'll do it if I have to, if I've done one and it's a bit peely than I would like. And sometimes it's better to leave them that way and then putting a third one on. I'm not sure. I might do a little test panel with this, but if you put 3 coats of this clear on, so I know some clears will pop, and you don't want to fight solvent popping afterwards, so it's just knowing your limits. I've not tried it with this clear yet. As you can see here, I'm just coming in with a second coat of clear now. Edges first. I do like to just make sure that everything's covered as well. Nothing worse than finding out after the fact that you've got a dry edge. And I just take my time now, just watch. I can see a nib there. I think there's a couple on this side, and I don't know why I was only getting them this side. I think there was 1 or 2, your standard ones, but I'm starting to think that maybe I'm so close to the filters that if you look there, you can see how much that's pulling in the overspray. And I don't know if by having the job so close to the oven, it's just catching some of the dirt and dust from the booth. So again, I might play around with that. I'm always trying to experiment as well. I do say that I did say before about the consistency, but if this bumper was at the back, would it have came out without those nibs? I'm not sure, but I'll try that next time. No harm in experimenting that kind of way, but if you do find something that's working for you, just stick with it. There's no need to change. No need to mess around with your gun setups or your air pressure once you've found what you like. After all, we're we painters, I suppose we're expected to produce the same sort of quality every single time, so if you can lock in what's working for you, then by all means, there's no need to change. But I suppose that's the thing with experimenting as well. Find what you like, find your setups. You know, I was playing around with this lacquer, putting it on heavier, putting it on lighter, trying the different ways, and when I thought, you know what, I'm going to over reduce it slightly, and I've put 10% in instead of the 5, and it's given me a fantastic finish, so I'll keep it at 10% from now on. I'm not really pushing the limits with it then. You know, I'm not trying to overload it, trying to get that finish. Like I was saying, if you get popping with this stuff, it's probably not going to be that fun to have to explain why the job has to be redone because it's got solvent pop all over it. But I do chase that finish. I want it nice. It saves me polishing. I keep saying it. I'm not a fan of it, but if it needs doing, I'll do it, but preferably not. You see this wing comes out lovely. Slight texture to it, but you'll see. Again, with the checking, I'm always on about checking. I'll stand up in a minute and I'll have a look around it and just say, you know what, that needs a little more. From up there, look. Top edges. Checking it. Could it be better? Yes. Let's have a little bit more then. And I'll just let that do its thing. You know, it's one of them that's saved me a couple of minutes polishing, so I'm happy with that. And another little walk around the bumper before I leave, using the back of my hand in the edges. Had somebody in the comments saying people don't use that anymore, and I don't know why. It used to be a thing. Using the back of your glove, you see those nibs there I was on about. But use the back of your glove to check your edges, make sure your edges are covered. But, and I'd like to thank you all for your time. I notice I'm running out of time while I'm yabbiting on. But thank you very much, and I hope you get some value from this video. Thank you.